Hey everyone, we are 5 days away from voting, I believe, when this will air. And I have a friend, mentor, someone I go to when I need advice, especially when I'm running CMBL. His name is Jeff Sankale, and he's director and founder of a nonprofit called Vitendo for Africa, which helps African immigrants and refugee families settle in, have an easy transition rather to the United States. And he's done so many things from helping families move, from even helping kids go to college, so many different things. But him and I resonate, and we agree on the fact that whenever we move to this country and we become citizens and people who inhabit this country, we're also benefiting from the things that we're given, and thus we're citizens directly or indirectly, which is why we're here to talk about why it's important to vote. Even as an African immigrant, I have voted already. I know I have a shirt that says register, show up, and vote. But if you have not, showed up, you can vote early, I believe, in St. Louis County and St. Louis City. And still, on November 3rd, please go out and vote, because this election is one of the most crucial and fundamental elections of our entire lifetime. And so, Jeff, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And then we'll just kind of have a chat of why we think our people need to get out and vote.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much, Cheryl, and I appreciate for that great introduction. Like you mentioned, I do work with the immigrants and refugees, and that is an organization that I started around 10 years ago. So primarily just connecting people with different resources and so that he can have a better way to settle when they come to this country,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed in the previous where people had really struggled to find resources. You have great organization with great resources, and you have a population that is struggling to get those resources.
Yeah.
So we wanted to find a way that we can be able to connect that.
Yeah.
And where there's some gaps, then we'll be able to find a way we can be able to provide direct services. And we've been doing that for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But I think for of late, I've also now, like you mentioned, been very much involved in voter registration,
Mm.
educating on people why they need to participate, become fast, encourage those who are qualified to become citizens. We walk them through to encourage to have them become citizen. When you go for your citizenship, we actually go make sure you register at
Yeah.
your ceremony.
Yeah.
That's
You
because
can
we know.
register to vote.
Yes, immediately when you
Yeah.
get so we've been attending a lot of those citizenship ceremony, and the people that are doing being sworn in, we make sure they register. If not, then we also follow up that people that I know they have requested, they've gone through that, and then we ask them to register. After registration, now we want them to participate in the election in voting, because it's not enough just to register as a voter and you don't participate um,
Mm.
to vote. The other reason also people have, immigrants mostly have thought of thinking that whatever happens here, it is not my problems. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
So we also work them and provide those kind of awareness.
Yeah. And, and again, kudos to you and your organization, because you've also been of so much help to the community during COVID.
Yes.
Personally seeing it at hand. And I think sometimes when you have someone in the face of adversity to actually support you, especially within your own community, it always helps and validates who you are. But for me, why I wanted to have this conversation is because I know a lot of young people, still African immigrants, are not going to vote,
Mhm.
or they haven't even bothered to understand why this election is so important. Because I think there's that feel of like, okay, well, we're still not going to get our rights anyway, so we might as well not vote. But
Mhm.
and I think people look at the federal level, right?
Mhm.
But I want you to discuss how are state elections vital to us voting, because that's where we really truly have voice.
Mhm.
Like you and I live in the state of Missouri, and even though we live our lives comfortably, people still don't understand that the people who are in power and who make the laws affect us deeply. So why is it important for people to take action, especially to vote at the state level as well, not just federal?
I think one thing I also, I'm glad you mentioned, but I think that is something that I've always told people that you are living in United States. You are in St. Louis.
Mm,
Uh, you either participate in the decision making or you just take what has been decided, and you have to abide by it. And we when you go to even in your local elections, you find there's some bills that are passed that you have to participate. There are tax information that you have to participate. I mean, register and show. I mean, vote.
yeah.
Um, if you don't participate in some of those things, they affect you directly. Either it is your property tax, either it is about schools, fire, fire department issues. It could be a lot of things that actually are decided at city level, statewide, and you have to voice your concern, or else you just wait and people decide. And some of those things, some of those votes are decided that they're passed by with a very minimum difference. And that could be your difference, the votes that you put, you're able to vote. But at the same time, the people you talk about and you educate about them, most of the people, if they're not aware of it, they're not educated enough, they think it's not important.
Yeah.
But the fact that whatever has been decided, it affects you, then it should concern you
Mm,
why your voice should be important before the decision is made. And the way to voice your concern is actually when you participate in voting. And more, also be more informed on what's happening, what's going on around your city, what's going on around your area. Who is your who is running for mayor? Who is running for Senate, like Missouri Senate or councilman in your own city? What do they stand for?
yeah.
Because if you don't know what they stand for, and they stand things that are really affecting you as an immigrant, affecting you as a Black person, then definitely when that person gets voted in, the life that you're going to live is going to be affected by the decision that they make.
Mm,
And I think that is why it's very important to actually ask people. You don't just focus on, oh, I'm just going to wait and vote during the main elections. But every time, if you look at in April, sometimes in August, there are so many things that goes on within your area, and you have to participate because
yeah.
propositions. That's when they are decided. The people vote with those propositions that affects in your own cities, your locality, your county,
Mm,
those are the things that really affect you more than what's happening in the statewide or in nation. I mean, in nationwide. If those because those are the things that are made based on the people that are within those small community, and
mm.
that's why your voice actually is more important than any other time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think before this, before Black Lives Matter and even before Trump became president,
Mhm.
I think I used to take elections as a joke. I
Yeah,
used to be like, ah, okay, whatever, we'll just vote in
it
4 years.
doesn't matter whatever they decide.
Everything that used to come in the mail that says, oh, you need to vote for this today, like, or in the coming weeks, I'd be like, it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah,
And I started to educate myself because also I think people lack, as long as you lack the knowledge, you
yeah,
don't care, you're never going to know what matters.
do not.
And then the thing is, we're also very quick to complain. We have like an essence of like, okay, but we can complain. As long as we can complain, we won't take action. And my problem is, if you're gonna complain, take action, because it affects you no matter how you may think, and
Absolutely,
especially to young people who are gonna
absolutely.
be parents here, or even to young families. Like, you know, you look at the African immigrant communities, they're still Black,
Hmm.
and the laws here don't look at you as African, they look at you as a Black person.
You are
You're a
definitely.
Black person, period. So
Yeah,
you need to also recognize, are the people who I'm voting into office, are they for me?
yeah,
And by any means, are we also trying to tell you who to vote for? That's not what we're saying. But I think you have to really morally, integrally, and think about what you're doing for yourself, and not just for yourself, but for your future kids, for your
Yeah,
future self and generation. So for
absolutely.
me, it's very important that people get out and vote,
Hmm.
have their voice heard. You know, your background says your voice,
Hmm.
and we come from a country where our votes don't really matter in a way because there's
Yeah,
corruption. But
that's true.
here, there's a bit of sustainability with our voices mattering, especially at state level. So when I meet people who are like, I'm not voting, and I'm just like, what?
You don't know what
Because
you,
I think,
yeah.
Jeff, if correct me if I'm wrong, I think we also have to take accountability. If you're not gonna vote, then don't complain, because
Yeah, just
you
accept
did
the
your due
outcome.
diligence.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just accept the outcomes. Yeah. I think you've said a very good point, and I think that is the part that we've been trying to do through text message, through social media, and even recording message, is that I think when you educate yourself and you know what is at stake
Yeah.
and how it affects you,
Mm.
then you will definitely want to be able to participate in the decision making. You want to participate in voting people who actually will be able to represent you.
Mm.
Otherwise, like you said, if you don't, then whatever the outcomes comes, then you wanted that. That's what you wanted.
Be okay with it.
You, yeah,
live
whatever you
live with the
decide, I'm okay.
consequences of your actions, basically.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
gotta have to be, and if you're not like now, if people are complaining, people complain about the racism, all this racial segregation, inequality that is there in our country as a whole.
Yeah.
People complain a lot. But if you also don't look at it and say, how are we gonna fix those things? How are we gonna fix those issues that affects us on everyday life? We talk about now what the black people being killed, people not being promoted at workplace or getting jobs, people segregating in buying homes in some certain regions, or
Redlining.
redlining, or
Yeah.
people not being, or else financial. I mean, the way also financial institutions just use the system to discriminate against a black man, and then you're gonna say that you will not be able to do something. I mean, you'd rather try to do something,
Than
and
not.
at least I did my best, at
Yeah.
least I tried,
Yeah.
as opposed to just sit down and you say, man, they only won with this number of votes, and it could be I could have been one or two three people would have made the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now the outcome comes in, it affects you for the next 4 5 years 10 years. And I think that, like you mentioned, the other thing about us as immigrants, you when you're driving on the road, I, I was just stopped last Sunday by a police. I was dropping my kids to Magic House where she was going for volunteer, and I was stopped by police. There were so many vehicles driving on the highway, and but I was stopped by police, and I'm sure when he stopped me, he definitely saw who was driving. And by that, it was not enough to tell him he is a Kenyan, he is Nigeria. He saw a black man in that car.
Yeah.
So if anything that happens when he comes in mind, if it's somebody who has biasness in a way,
Yeah.
I am a black man. I am a black man to him.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that happens, if it's when you're looking for jobs or whatever, before somebody or even looked at you, they look at the color of your skin. And we better agree, we better accept it. Segregation, racism
It's
is
real.
deep. It's real.
Reality. It's a reality, and so I often find it so hard when people live in a world where they think,
Hmm.
and I think for me, we come from a very spiritual Christian background, but I think even for the people watching this, you have to educate yourself. You
Absolutely.
cannot afford to not educate yourself,
Hmm.
because I think with Black Lives Matter, with what's happening in Nigeria as well, because what's happening in Nigeria, Jeff, it's not a new thing. It
No,
happens
it
in
is.
African
It's not.
countries every single
It
day.
is not. Yeah.
And And the fact that some people are blinded to that is sad to me, because it's the reality of a Black man suffering. It's a global Black pain. And
Mhm.
that's why I say, like, when you vote as well, and you vote for your voice, you're voting for every Black person in this country, not
Yes.
just yourself. And I think as immigrants, we also need to challenge and unlearn that, even if we're so different from African Americans, we know our history. We're blessed with that. I know where I come from. I
Mhm.
come from Kenya. But I know some African Americans who were even telling my dad the other day they would like to go to the village
Oh
to
yeah.
know more about Africa. So
They want to connect.
at the end of the day, we're all the same. So we just want you to go out and vote. It's not just for ourselves.
Mhm.
It's a crucial time. Your voice matters, and I cannot emphasize this anymore. Jeff, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but for me, it's to encourage people to go out and vote in numbers. Let's do what's best for us as humanity, because I think also I'm at a level whereby, like, if you're not willing to take action,
Mhm.
then don't complain.
No,
You
you should not.
We need to take action. The time is now. And even for Vitendo for Africa and Clear Minds, Better Lives, we're taking action.
Mhm.
You're taking action constantly to make sure
Absolutely.
that the community is taken care of in St. Louis.
Mhm.
I'm trying to better mental health awareness in our community. So
Mhm.
it's all about doing things that are for change, for the better, irrespective of our backgrounds, irrespective of what we do.
Mhm.
And, we also need to stop. I think this needs to be something that's echoed. We really, immigrant families really just focus on succeeding, succeeding, succeeding,
Mhm.
which is not a bad thing. But as you go and chase success, know what is happening around you, and
Oh yeah.
because it's so vital if you
Oh
want
yeah.
a better future. So that's all I have. Jeff, anything else to add?
Yeah, I thank you. I think that's a good way to close it. I will just need to emphasize, like you said, people need to participate in voting.
Yeah.
And I think the other part I would also challenge also young people is
Mm,
also do the best they can to educate their parents,
yeah.
educate the uncles, educate the aunties and the friends, because there is that part of, and I'm allowed to use the word, there's that part of older immigrants
Mm,
generation thinking that their life is not here, their life is back home.
yeah.
But as long as you have young people, as long as you're in this country, I think we are obligated to do the right thing. And the right thing is to actually participate in voting.
Yeah.
Young people, go talk to your parents, educate them about the candidates and what they stand for, the things that really affects you as an immigrant, as a young person, as a Black person.
Mm,
Know who stands for what, educate your parents, and also remind them to go and vote. If those who can be able to do early voting, take advantage of the opportunity.
mm,
Those who are able to go and vote in person, please, 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 let's go and vote.
yeah.
And if you have young, like I've seen some people who are also young people who are more educated, they want to participate in civic and engagement, they want to participate in public policy. Read how, if you feel like you have that's an interest in that, find a way that you can participate. If you want to go and come and talk to us and see how you can be able to
To help.
contribute on that, we would be able to give you a platform. But the most important thing is wherever you are, if you are registered, if you have a vote and you're already registered as a vote, please, please
Mm,
make use of that vote. That vote makes a big difference.
yeah.
And when you vote, you will, whatever the outcome comes, you will be satisfied, you'll be contented and say, you
Yeah.
did your part. I
That's
am
true.
doing my best.
Yeah. When I dropped my ballot off at the Northwest Plaza Board of Elections, I felt so liberated. I was just like,
Yeah,
even if who I voted for doesn't win, like, I
yes,
have done my civic duty.
Dan, you're right.
I've done your right, and it's the best feeling on the planet. So
Yeah.
please go out and vote. Jeff, as always, thank you so much,
Thank you so
and
much.
talk soon. Thank you.
Bye bye.